I need to speak this aloud before I convince myself into silence again. My thoughts aren't mine the way they once were. Not in the dramatic way people casually joke about. Not, I'm stressed or I can't focus. I mean, they respond back now, and they don't sound like me. This is hollow thoughts. You already recognize the kind of story this is, the kind you don't abandon when it concludes. It began with a note I don't recall writing, a small square of paper on my kitchen counter. No handwriting flourish, no little habits, just block letters, like someone was attempting to be careful. Don't trust your first thought. I laughed, because it resembled something you'd encounter on a motivational poster, or a therapist would suggest. I even spoke it aloud, alone in my apartment. Okay. And then I discarded it. But the next morning, it returned. Same square, same letters, different place. This time it rested on my nightstand, like it had been waiting beside me while I slept. Don't trust your first thought. I stood there, staring, attempting to play the logical game. Maybe I wrote it and forgot. Maybe I sleepwalk. Maybe I have a carbon monoxide leak and I'm about to become the headline in a story people consume for entertainment. So I investigated. I purchased a detector. I opened windows. I texted my sister, half joking, asking if she'd ever heard me sleep talking when we were kids. She replied with a laughing emoji. Then, 2 minutes later, she delivered another message. You okay? That's a weird question. I almost revealed everything. I almost sent a photograph of the note, but my fingers froze because a thought slid in, soft as a hand on my shoulder. Don't. It wasn't loud. It wasn't a voice. It felt like my own thought, but it didn't have my shape. I stared at the screen. I thought, why wouldn't I tell her? And then my mind offered an answer before I completed the question. Because you'll sound crazy. And that was accurate, so I didn't. The note became normal. That's the humiliating part. After 3 days, I stopped being frightened by it. Like a dripping faucet you swear you'll fix, and then you stop hearing. It appeared in predictable places, on the bathroom mirror, tucked under my keys. Once, taped to the inside of my fridge door, like a reminder you'd leave yourself to buy milk. Don't trust your first thought. I tried to defeat it. I wrote my own note, in my handwriting, in cursive. I stuck it on the counter with a magnet. Stop leaving notes. I felt ridiculous, but it made me feel better, for one night. The next morning, my note remained there, but underneath it, covering half my handwriting, was the square paper again. Same block letters. Stop listening. And for the first time, my stomach dropped in a way that wasn't just fear. It was recognition. Like something in me had been anticipating that sentence. I started paying attention to the way I thought. That sounds simple until you attempt it. You don't notice most thoughts. They just happen. They arrive fully formed, wearing your voice, wearing your opinions, wearing your history, until one of them slips, until one of them doesn't fit right, like a jacket you've owned for years, and suddenly the sleeves are too long. The first time I caught it, I was preparing coffee. My mind said, you should call Dad. My hand froze over the mug, because I don't call my dad. Not because I'm too busy, because I don't. I haven't in years, and I couldn't immediately explain why. I stood there, staring into the sink, attempting to pull up the feeling attached to him. Warmth? Anger? Anything? All I found was a blank space, like a page torn from a book. Then another thought slid in. It's fine. Call him. And it was gentle, patient, like someone attempting not to startle an animal. I heard myself whisper, why? I didn't intend to, but I said it, and my mind answered, because you miss him. I almost believed it. That's the most terrifying part. It didn't feel like a lie. It felt like a correction, like my brain was editing me in real time. I decided to test something simple, a tiny private experiment. I selected a memory I knew was true. The day I fractured my wrist in 3rd grade, the jungle gym, the gravel, the way I cried so hard I couldn't breathe. I sat on my couch and replayed it, clear as a photograph. Then I waited, and sure enough, the second thought arrived.
You didn't break it on the jungle gym. You fell down the stairs. My chest tightened. No, that wasn't right. I thought, no, it was the jungle gym. And the answer came back, immediate. You always claim that, but you're wrong. It wasn't arguing. It wasn't emotional. It sounded tired, like it had heard my version too many times. I went to my closet and excavated the shoebox I keep old papers in. Report cards, birthday cards, random things that smell like dust and time. I found the hospital bracelet. 3rd grade, my name printed correctly, and under reason for visit, in faded ink, fall downstairs. I stared at it. The room felt smaller. Not claustrophobic exactly, just closer, like the air had moved in. My first instinct was relief. See, you're just remembering incorrectly. People misremember things all the time. But then that other thought arrived, smooth and satisfied. Good. And I realized something. My first thought had been wrong, and the note had warned me. The warning wasn't about danger outside me. It was about my own mind. After that, it started happening everywhere. Little corrections, little edits. I'd reach for a word and my brain would replace it. I'd start to feel angry about something and the anger would evaporate. Not naturally, more like it was taken, like someone turned off a faucet. I'd look at a photograph on my phone and think, I don't remember this. And then the second thought would come in. Yes, you do. Stop pretending. I stopped trusting myself, which sounds dramatic until you experience it, until you're standing in a grocery store staring at 2 brands of cereal and you can't tell if you actually prefer one more or if you're being guided, until you're in the shower and you catch yourself rehearsing a conversation you never intended to have, until you notice your own internal voice saying we instead of I. The notes transformed too. They weren't always on paper anymore. Sometimes they were on my phone, in drafts I hadn't typed. A blank text thread with one sentence. Be careful what you remember. Once, I opened my laptop and a document was on the screen. Untitled, 1 line, centered. You agreed to this. I felt cold because that line did something my other fear hadn't done. It made me feel guilty. Not scared, guilty. Like I'd forgotten something important on purpose. Like there was a reason my memories had holes, and I was the one who made them. I started sleeping with the lights on, not because of the dark, because in the dark, it felt easier for the second thoughts to arrive. More room, less resistance. I'd lie there, listening to my own breathing, attempting to keep my mind blank. But you can't hold blankness. Eventually, a thought appears, and then right behind it, the correction. I began to notice patterns. The second thought didn't correct everything. It corrected specific things, names, places, certain dates, anything related to my father, anything related to the house we grew up in, anything related to that summer when my sister and I stopped speaking for almost a year. Every time I tried to push into those memories, my mind would get firm, like a door that closes quietly, without slamming. Don't go there. And if I pushed harder, if I tried to force an image through, I'd get this sensation, like standing too close to a speaker, a low pressure in my skull. And then, inevitably, the easier thought would come. You're tired. You're inventing it. Let it go. One night, I did something I'm not proud of.
I called my sister. I didn't plan it. My hand dialed before I could stop it. She answered on the second ring, sleepy and annoyed. Hello? For a second, I couldn't speak. My first thought was, ask her about Dad. And before I could decide, the second thought arrived. Don't. Say you miss her. So I did. I heard my own voice say, I miss you. And the moment the words left my mouth, I felt wrong. Not because I don't love her, I do, but because it didn't feel like my choice. There was a pause. Then she said, very quietly, are you having the dreams again? My heart pounded. What dreams? Another pause, longer. And then her voice shifted, like she was selecting each word carefully. You don't remember. It wasn't a question.
It was an observation. I gripped the phone so hard my fingers hurt. I tried to speak, but my mouth went dry. And in that silence, inside my head, something moved. Not a voice, a presence. And the thought came, calm and cold. Hang up. I didn't. I tried to resist it. I forced the words out. Tell me. My sister inhaled sharply, like that one word had wounded her. Noman, she whispered. You made me promise. I felt the world tilt. What did I? You said if you ever started to remember, she said, it would come back. I could hear her breathing. I could hear her fear. And behind it, something else. Resentment, like she'd been carrying something alone for a long time. I don't know what you did, she said, but you begged me to help you forget. My mind immediately offered a second thought. She's lying. She's confused. She's attempting to scare you. It sounded so reasonable, so protective, so familiar, like it had always been there. I almost grabbed onto it. I almost let it pull me away from that conversation. But then something happened. Something small. Something that felt like a crack. A first thought came in, raw and unfiltered. It wasn't a sentence. It was an image. A hallway. Our old house. The wallpaper. The smell of damp carpet. A door at the end that was always closed. And me, standing there, my hand on the knob, not opening it, holding it shut from the inside. I gasped out loud. My sister heard it. She said my name again, urgent now. But I wasn't listening anymore, because the second thought didn't come. Not immediately. For the first time in weeks, there was a gap, a silence. And in that silence, I realized why the second thoughts felt patient, why the notes felt like warnings and not threats. They weren't trying to harm me. They were trying to keep me stable. They were trying to keep me functional, like someone holding a lid down on a pot that's already boiling. And the most disturbing part is this. I don't know if they're doing it for me or for whatever is underneath. I hung up on my sister without saying goodbye, not because I wanted to, because my hand moved, because the second thought came back, finally, like a guard returning to their post. You're safe. Don't ruin it. I'm sitting here now, attempting to write this the way it happened, attempting to keep my first thoughts long enough to speak them aloud. And I keep wondering something that makes my throat tighten. What if the second thoughts aren't invading? What if they're not new? What if they're the part of me that made the promise, the part that decided forgetting was mercy, the part that learned how to correct me before I could fall apart? I found the original note again today, on my counter, the same square paper, the same block letters, but the message is different now. It doesn't say not to trust my first thought. It doesn't say stop listening. It says, thank you for complying. If you've ever had a thought that didn't feel like yours, if you've ever looked at your own memory and felt it shift beneath your feet, tell me what you think it means. Not the neat answer, the honest one. And if you want to remain in this place with me, where the mind transforms into a locked room, you can subscribe to Hollow Thoughts. I don't say that because it helps me. I say it because I don't want to be the only one listening to what comes next. Because right now, as I finish this, I can feel a second thought forming, and it's telling me to erase everything I just said.